Okay, y'all, today we are cleaning our incubator. We're getting ready to start some eggs, and every time before we incubate we always clean our incubator out with some bleach water and soap, and rinse it out really good and let it dry, and this sanitize it and kill any bacteria and germs that's left. And there's a lot of nastiness that gets in them whenever you incubate eggs, and they've got chicken poop on them and then all the stuff when they hatch. So it's very important that you sanitize your incubator before you use it. Okay, here we've took apart the egg turner that goes in our incubator, and we have soaked all of these holders in bleach water, and we took them all out of their little trays, and we've scrubbed them down, then bleached it all, so it all should be good and sanitized now, and we're going to let it dry before we put it back together. Howdy, y'all. Today is February the 17th, and we've had these chicken eggs in the incubator since February the 1st, and normally it takes 21 days for a chicken egg to hatch, give or take. And today's the 17th, they've been in there 17 days, and I opened the incubator and I've noticed that some of these are already starting to hatch. And I'm just now today was going to take them out of the turner and place them directly on the floor of my incubator so they could hatch without being on these little plastic holders. And some of them is already hatching. I've counted like 4 that is already. Here's a good one. But this little guy's really active, and he's been peeping a lot. I'll try not to handle him a whole lot. But I think the reason some of these are hatching early is I had one hen laying in this nest for 2 or 3 days, and she stayed on the nest a whole lot, and I kind of think that she sped these eggs up a little bit, because most of the others I've got on the other nests, they're not starting to hatch yet. And there's about 4, I think, that is starting to hatch. And I've just been taking them out of my turner and placing them on the floor of the incubator. The books and internet I've read recommends transferring them out of the turner 3 days before hatch date, but which would be tomorrow. But these are already starting to hatch, so we're moving them tonight so they can hatch on the flat surface. And kind of took us by surprise, but we're real excited. We love having the baby chickens, and we can't wait to see what kind we get, because we have these should be a mixture of all different kinds of the big stock chickens that we keep. And we're real excited. This is our favorite time of year. These will be a mixture of probably Rhode Island Reds, Dahmer Knickers, Golden Lace Wyandotte, Barred Rock, and we have some Speckled Sussex, and a few black giant eggs, I think, in here, and some white leghorn. So, and all our chickens run together, and we have a rooster for almost every kind, so it's going to be real interesting to see what kind of little chicks we get. But we'll get back with y'all whenever these little guys start coming out of the shell, and let you watch them hatch.
Now spring tea. I'll say 2.5. Okay, and Kathy Lee would be right. It's a 4 because this is actually super good for you. It's actually not raised. I don't have it raised as a 5 because you have to have a lot of it every day over time, because a lot of studies will show that there is a relaxing effect on your blood vessels, which is good for your heart, it's good for your brain. But the thing is, it's about 5 servings a day of 6 ounces. That's only 30 ounces, but it's 2 medium-sized. Yeah. That's a lot. Do you drink green tea? When it's available, I do. Yeah. I have to have my coffee in the morning. Blueberries, I'm going to say 5. I'm going to say 3. And you would be right again. Blueberries are last among and blackberries. You've told me before.
Alright, here we got the chicks in this cardboard box. And these chicks here is the first ones that have hatched. And we've got them in here until for another day probably, and then we'll put them into another crate that we have with a screen top and with our quart jar feeders and waters instead of just the jar lids with a little bitty feed. And right here beside of them we have the youngest ones. These were born after the bigger ones there, and they're still drying off. And the others kind of pick on them a little bit if you put them right in with them. So we separate them for a while till they all fluff up and get a little stronger. And we have a heat light on them, and we try to keep it. It recommends 98 to 100 degrees, so it varies roughly. But we keep it. We have a thermometer in the box here, and we got it going real good right now. It's staying right around 99 degrees. So that's about perfect from what I've always read. And when these guys get a little fluffier and stronger, we'll move them with the others, and we'll put them in the cage that we keep outside. Here's our thermometer, and it says 98 degrees right now. But these little guys are doing real good. They're fluffing up well. And these bigger ones, they really took off, and you can already tell that they're growing, and they're pretty feisty. And they're ready to go into their bigger cage. And we're real excited to see what breeds we have here. And we're going to try to sex these chicks by looking at their wing feathers this year. So we've never had good luck at guessing the sex of our chickens, but we've read that you can tell by their wing feathers. So if anybody has any experience with that, please comment and let us know, because we'd really like to know what we've got. We'll do another update for y'all whenever we get these chicks into the new home, and hopefully there'll be some more hatching. Tomorrow should be 21 days in the incubator, so all the rest of the eggs we're hoping will hatch. So we have these little guys so far. We're hoping for a lot more. Alright, y'all, I'm going to show you my tote that I keep my biddies in now. This is just a Rubbermaid tote that we got at the dollar store. And I've made a top for it. I took an old piece of plywood that I had, or OSB, plywood, any kind of board that you have, you can make one of these. And I laid it on top of it, and I traced it. And then I cut the lip, the width of this, narrower than my mark. And it fits right down inside the tote perfect. And there's these little handles inside, and it sits right on top of them perfect, and it can't push on in. Then I just took a small 1/2-inch rat wire and stapled onto the back of it. And this keeps out anything from getting in my biddies, because whenever they get about this old, I'll put this tote on my porch, and we'll keep them out there to keep the smell and stuff out of the house. And then after they get about a week old or so, I'll move them up to the chicken house, and I can put them in. I've got another cage made out of rat wire that is a little bigger than this, and I can move them into that. Alright. See, that just comes off real easy, but you have to pull on it. So, I mean, a coon or something. I've never had anything get in and get my biddies. Here we have the feeder and water. I use these jar feeders. You can buy these at about any hardware, farm store, tractor supply. And I like the metal ones. I feel like they're more durable than the plastic. You can get them in plastic. And I just feel these are stronger. And I've busted several of the plastic ones. And I know these could rust, but I just keep them good and clean. And I've never had any trouble. And I disinfect these every year. These, before I put them in here, I disinfected them with bleach water and dried them real good, rinsed them real good, and dried them real good. And the food jar, well, it stays pretty clean. But this water jar, where this heat light keeps it real warm in there, well, it'll get kind of dirty. So I'll take this out about every other time I fill it up, and I'll clean it out in the sink and wipe it out, and then we'll put fresh water in every day. And them little fellers are small, but they drink a lot of water. And you can also clean them out while you're using them. I clean them out with the vinegar water, and that does real well. In the bottom of the tote, I have just pine shavings. I get these at Tractor Supply, and they're cheap. They're, I think, $4.99 a bag, and they last a long time with these biddies. And that keeps them good and clean and dry. And whenever this starts getting either damp or a lot of chicken manure on it, well, I'll take them out and put fresh in, and they're really good for your compost pile too. These little bitties are growing real good. I have 20% starter and grower in this feeder, and I buy it by the 50 pounds. I got this at Tractor Supply, and I use 20% protein for my bitties. And now when I raise turkey poults, I raise them on 24% protein, so they have to have a higher protein content. And also these little fellers, they love cornbread. We bake them, sometimes we'll bake them a pound of cornbread, and I let them eat that, and they really, really enjoy that. It's a good treat for them. And they're really growing good, eating this feed, and drinking real good. There's all 7 of them seem good and healthy. And we're going to sex these with their wing feathers. The articles I've read say that if the feathers are straight, they are a rooster, and if the rows of feathers alternate on their wing, that they are a pullet. So we've never tried it. So if any of y'all have done this and had any success with it, please comment and let us know, because we'd really like to know what we have. Now, I was going to mention earlier, in the incubator, when I put these eggs in the incubator, alright, I let my incubator sit all day and run and heat up before I put eggs in it, and I get it to 100 degrees and make sure it'll stay there. And then I put my eggs in the turner, and underneath the turner, I put a washcloth, and I dampen that washcloth with water to keep it humid in there. And I don't have a barometer to tell me my humidity, but I'd like to invest in one. But I keep that washcloth damp, not soaking, but just damp. And I seem to have really good luck with that. And it takes 21 days to hatch a chicken egg. And on day 18, you take your eggs out of the turner and put them flat in the incubator so they can get in position to hatch. And as soon as they dry up a little bit in the incubator, well, I'll put them into a cardboard box under a heat light, and then I put them into this tote. We hope y'all have enjoyed this video, and hope you've learned something, and maybe we've helped you out a little bit. And if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to ask. And make sure y'all like and subscribe. And God bless y'all. Go forth and homestead.